This is my second time filming this. Anyways, hey, I'm Michelle from Michelle Loves Books. Welcome back to my channel. Can you believe it? I am actually filming a TBR video. This is just my favorite time of year, and Halloween is like my favorite holiday ever. And there's a ton of really cool readathons going on this month, and they all have just really fun themes and fun games and challenges. I'm so excited. Allie at Hardbackhoarder has actually created a Notion page, I think that's how you would say it, with the calendar and all of the readathons going on this month. I will leave the links in the description box below. It's very helpful. She also has a link to her blog or her website where she has left a bunch of really cute bingo boards. Also, any of the readathons that I mentioned, I will leave all the links in the description box as well. I never usually like the vanilla chai, but it just makes me feel like it's the right time for this tea. So I am planning on doing 5 readathons. I know that sounds completely insane, but I'm actually really happy with how strategically I managed to plan everything and plan my TBR so that it's not too overwhelming. And I managed to cover all of the prompts with only 6 books. I think only one of the readathons you could double up on. So I did double up on some of the books, but not within the same readathon, except for that one, and I will explain it all to you. I also have some backup books that I will share with you as well. If I end up finishing these books, if I'm just like not in the mood or not enjoying the book that I originally picked out, I do have some backups. The first readathon I'm going to do is the Hocus Pocus Readathon. It is a month-long readathon. It is hosted by Pages in Ink and Werewolfalicious. This readathon, you basically sign up for a team that you want to be on, and then there are 4 prompts. And for each of the books that you read, you get points for your team. And then I guess at the end they tally up which team wins as a whole. So it's just a really fun way to read along and kind of push yourself to read. The team that I chose was the Sanderson sisters, and I did this readathon last year actually. I also was on Team Sanderson sisters. I was gonna mix it up and try like the Undead group, but I ended up going with Sanderson sisters just because the prompts I feel like just match with most of the books that I already own. So I just felt like it was a little bit easier to choose books from them. So the group book is Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker, and I've actually already checked this one out on Hoopla. So Mooncakes is actually, I really don't know much about it. I think that there's like a witch, obviously it's on the cover. And I also think it's LGBTQ, but it's also a graphic novel, so I love when there's lots of... The next prompt is for Sarah. This one is to pick a book that features sisters. So the book I'm choosing for Sarah is Practical Magic. I love this movie. I've seen this movie years ago, and I think I've been a little bit hesitant to read it just because either it's gonna be exactly like the movie and I'm gonna be bored, or it's gonna be too different and it's not gonna be the same. I don't know, but I am really excited to read this. Put it right here. So that's Sarah's book. The next one is for Winifred. Pick a book with powerful witches. For this book, I'm picking Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. This was so interesting to me. I think I actually found this at the dollar store. It's a modern retelling of an old Russian fairy tale. And I think, what is it called? It's called Vasilisa the Beautiful is the original story. And it also features a witch called Baba Yaga. I think that's how you say it. I was immediately drawn to this book too because of a TV show that I like to watch called Lost Girl. And our sidekick character, she's human in a fae world. She's Russian. And one night, well, one of the episodes, one night they are drinking and she gets drunk and they are hating on this guy that dumped her friend, and so she goes and summons Baba Yaga through the mirror, and she winds up trapped in Baba Yaga's realm. It was described in the TV show that young Russian girls who were wronged by men call on Baba Yaga to curse the men. So this is Winifred's book. The next prompt is for Mary. Oh, this one is to pick a book with an evil character. For this, I am choosing Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, and this does not have a cover. I took the cover off because it was hideous. This is also a very old book, and I was kind of hesitant on if I could really stand to stare at this print because it's like, I don't know why, I'm just really picky sometimes about the print style. Like some of these really older books are kind of hard to read that print. But anyways, okay, so I have Interview with the Vampire. This book is actually pretty short, and so is this Vasa and the Night. Some other ways that you can earn points for your team is to watch the Hocus Pocus movie, which is no problem at all. It's like a tradition to watch Hocus Pocus every year for Halloween. In fact, last year was the first year I showed it to my son Aaron, and he was just obsessed with it. He was watching it like every day. He wanted to watch that movie, and I'm like, okay, there's other like spooky Halloween-y movies that I really want to see. But it was really cool to see how much he loved that show too, so we definitely got that one covered. In fact, the first weekend of October, I already have a movie night planned for me and the kids. We're gonna have popcorn and watch Hocus Pocus. One other way that you can get points for your team is for every 100 pages extra that you read during the month, you get 2 more points. Yeah, I'm excited to see how much I can contribute to the Sanderson sisters team. We are gonna win. The next readathon that I plan on participating in is, I don't know how you say it, Booktober, Spooktober. And it is all month long, and I believe that it's hosted by Paper Fairy. I think so. This one was just really unique in its design as well. It's kind of a build your own Halloween party. And then each category has 4 different prompts. I really kind of wanted to share what all the different options were, but you can go check them out if you like. They were just so cute, especially when it comes to the refreshments category. But I'm just gonna stick to the ones that I chose so it's less confusing and we're not here all night. So the first category is costumes. I went ahead and chose fantasy costume. My real costume last year and this year is a Ravenclaw. I have the whole robe and everything like. So the book I chose for the costume is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is basically these kids who have these like special abilities, I guess, and they're pretty much like outcasted, I believe. And then Miss Peregrine finds these children and takes them in. I guess they're kind of like orphans. So she takes them in and then can kind of they have a place to be themselves and be safe. Oh, and I've already started this book too. So I always like to try to fit in books that I've already started. There's like all of these pictures throughout the book and it's so pretty. The next category is refreshments. I went ahead and went with the candy bowl. Not only because all the other choices were just really gross, but because this one gave me the opportunity to pick another really short book. So the candy bowl is to pick a graphic novel. I honestly didn't have one already set out for this. I didn't know I was gonna go to the library today. I thought I was gonna go to the library and just dump a book in the return and I wasn't gonna check out anything because I've got plenty of books. But my son Aaron really wanted to go to the library as well, and he picked out a whole slew of Goosebumps books. If I have time, I really want to read some of those books too, and I think it'd be really fun for us to read Goosebumps at night together. I actually got 2 books, but we'll talk about the other one in a little bit. So I've got Pumpkinheads, and I read this one last year around this time, and I love it so much. So I was really excited that my library still had it in stock, and so I picked this one up to read. I'll put that bad boy right there. The next category is dance floor, and there are 4 different songs that you could play. And originally I had to go with Monster Mash. I had to. But unfortunately, I decided that I didn't really, the prompt was not working for me. We're gonna go ahead and go with Superstition, which is to pick a book that's based on a fairy tale or folklore. This book works for that prompt. The last category is festivities, and this is like whatever game or activity that you are going to play during your party, and I went ahead and went with Ouija board. This is to pick a book that people warned you about. For this one, I'm going with House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This is another one I have already started, barely, but it's there. I started it, and this is what I've been wanting to read for ages and ages. I also put it on another like fall TBR that this would be like a really good book to read during this time. We're gonna finally do it. And yeah, look at my bookmark. How funny is that? That's ridiculous. I literally lost my bookmark. I don't know why I didn't just dog ear the page, because this is one that I also plan on doing annotations in and stuff like that, because I just feel like, look at all that space just begging to be highlighted and written all over. Yeah. So this book is for festivities. I'm gonna also with Spooktober. Also with this readathon, they are going to have 13 days of Instagram photo challenges. Now, I'm usually horrible at Instagram challenges, but for the most part, I really ignore Instagram. But I'm gonna try. We'll see. But some of the prompts on here I feel like I can do a few of these prompts, and some of them I'm completely lost on what to do. So we'll just see. The next readathon that I'm gonna do is the Because We Can Readathon, the travel edition. Now this one is not spooky Halloween-y themed, it's travel themed. So for me, I kind of put travel theme in with summer and stuff like that. But our hosts are from Australia and UK. Our hosts for this are Kat at Stars and Embers, Kat at Brews and Reviews, and Jenna. They just started this readathon earlier this summer, so they're doing this a fall round. I managed to still read my spooky books, even though it's travel themed. There are 7 prompts, and I managed to get all 7 prompts with 2 books. I almost had it with 1 book. I was really shocked. Technically, I probably could be like very loose in choosing 1 book, but it worked out anyways because both of these books are doubled up for other. So the 2 books I chose is House of Leaves and again, Vasa in the Night. So the first challenge is read a book that involves traveling. House of Leaves is going to be used for this challenge because I guess this house is a weird labyrinth and it has all these different corridors, and so technically you're like traveling through this house and discovering this house, and it's supposed to be really, really freaky like that. So I consider that traveling. The second challenge is to choose a book from a different culture, Russian culture, and all the rest of the challenges we're using House of Leaves. The third challenge is a book set in a place that you want to or that you don't want to go to. I definitely do not want to go to the House of Leaves. No thank you. The fourth challenge is choose a book with a map. Okay, again, House of Leaves. How does this work? Because I pulled up some links regarding this book because I was doing like a little bit of reading into it. There's this article where this guy is explaining that a lot of people just do not like this book. They don't understand it. There's like a right and a wrong way to read this book. And this book does not move in a linear format. There's like all these footnotes, and there's footnotes to footnotes. Like some of the footnotes might direct you to go to the index, and you are supposed to go to the index, read that, and then go back to where you left off. And like it's constantly moving you around through the book in this non-linear fashion. He literally said in the article, some people feel like you might need a map to navigate this book. I think it works really in a really unique way, so I'm going with it. The fifth challenge is to read a science fiction book. It also kind of explains that this book is actually science fiction, and it has to do with, I'm gonna have to pull it up, how it's constructed and everything like that is kind of like a science fiction kind of basis. Okay, so the sixth challenge is a place in the title. House of Leaves. The house is the place. Yes. The seventh challenge is a book that features the ocean. This is probably a little bit too creative. I could still read something else for this prompt because I chose this one because the setting is in Brooklyn, which is surrounded by water. However, this one actually takes place on an island as well. Also, there's a group book for this if you want to read the group book. It's called Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Healing. Funny, the way that me and these girls met was through another readathon that they used to do video challenges for every round, and it was always so much fun. But they have kind of followed through with that idea. However, they have made it into creative challenges, so you can do video challenges, you can do Instagrams or TikToks or however you want to do it. You could do, like, if you have a blog but you don't have like YouTube, you can participate. So I thought that was just so great and so inclusive. I'm gonna leave those a secret for now because I do plan on doing these challenges. I'm really gonna try super hard to vlog throughout this month. But yeah, I suck at vlogging. I tried to do a weekend reading vlog, then come Sunday, I did not update anything at all. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I can just be like, oh, by the way, on Sunday I read this, da da da. And I got all this like cool footage, but like now that we're into like October, tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, the next day, I'm like, nope, there's no way. I'm just gonna move ahead and forget about that weekend. So but I'm gonna really, really try because I think it'd be really fun. There are 2 more readathons, but they're really short, and I really like these because they're just like short and cute and sweet. And the first one is Dewey's 24-hour readathon. They do like every 3 months, they host a 24-hour readathon. I think it's every 3 months. It's from the 24th to the 25th. There's no reading prompts for this. It's just concentrated time to read, and they do all these different like hourly updates and challenges. I think like every 3 hours they have a challenge, and then like halfway through they have like a big challenge, plus reading sprints. And I guess they're trying to bring back this like cheerleading thing. And the last readathon that I'm going to participate in is called the Hello Read-A-Thon, and it runs from the 30th to November 1st. And so it's just 3 days, short and sweet. There's 3 reading prompts. The first one is to read a book with witches. The second one is to read a book with black on the cover. The third one is to read 2 books. Oh, and this one is hosted by Imogen Types and Cat Book Tea, and I've never participated in this one before. So the books I'm choosing for those, so read a book with witches. I can double up and read Mooncakes, and it's also a graphic novel. Yeah, these are like all my lists and how I wrote out and organized all of my readathons and all of the available books I have and the books that I'm going to read and my backup books and books that I would like to check out in case those don't work. I'm ridiculous, I know, I'm sorry. Another one I would really like to read, and it's really short, is called The Castle of Otranto, and I actually have that on ebook, and I also have it on audiobook, because that's one thing I didn't do. Is all of the 7 books that I have chose for all the prompts are physical books, and I always forget that like I always like to have like an ebook, which is not a big deal because I'll still have an ebook that I'll be reading when I'm not reading my physical books. So I think I'm going to be trying to read The Castle of Otranto. As for audiobooks, I'm going to check out Castle of Otranto as well. And then I also really want to read Camilla. It's a very like old vampire story. Another one I have checked out is Beautiful Disaster. And I checked that one out because of a new booktube friend. This is one of her favorite books. So I just wanted to see if I would like it as well. They're bingo boards. So I did mention Allie at Hardbackhoarder created bingo boards. I'm actually going to upload my bingo boards to Instagram. So if you're really curious, you can go to check out my Instagram. But my backup book. So I wanted to share some other spooky books that I really want to read, but I have not planned on reading them if I finish my books and I still have time. The first one is a book I checked out from the library just today. The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. And I know this is a pretty new book. I didn't really know much about it. Vampires, and I was like, oh my god, I just have to. And oh my god, this cover is just so beautiful. So basically it's these vampires in New Orleans, and there's like this brotherhood and betrayal and all this stuff. It's a lot, and I've been talking forever. New Orleans vampires, like, do you need to know more? These next 2 I'm definitely probably not gonna read. I'm just dying to start them, and they are just perfect for this season, but I'm probably not gonna read them just because they are so big. And that one is Dracul by Dockery. I do not know how to say that name. Stoker and J.D. Barker, and I believe that this Mr. Stoker is the descendant of Bram Stoker, who wrote the original Dracula. But this is supposed to tell the story, and I'm kind of mind blown here because I'm like, is this fact or fiction? But the way this book is written is you're following Bram Stoker as he goes and meets Dracula, keeps all these journals just like our Jonathan Harkness from the original Dracula story. But this is supposed to tell the origin of Bram Stoker and the origin of Dracula. So it just sounds like so good. The next one is another vampire story, also just enormous. And that is The Accursed by Joyce Carol Oates. These elite families get a curse put on them, and vampires and ghosts are like stalking their dreams. Their daughters start disappearing, and this whole like underworld opens up. But the second part of this almost feels like it's different, because it says shape-shifting European prince shows up and abducts a young bride. Her brother seeks out to find her. His path crosses those of the most formidable people, including Grover Cleveland, Woodrow Wilson, Jack London, and Mark Twain. So I'm really interested. It says that all of these people are plagued by the accursed visions. So I'm really excited to kind of see how she mixes these famous people into her. The next one I picked up because of Spookathon, I was like, okay, I need a thriller at least, because she always does a thriller at least, and then has all these other things like spooky name in the title and things like that. But I went ahead and left it in my maybe list because thrillers are always good, and I just don't read enough thrillers, and this one doesn't seem like it's too hard. I've really been wanting to read Ruth Ware. So I have In a Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I actually have no idea what this is about. What should be a cozy, fun-filled weekend deep in the English countryside takes a sinister turn by Ruth Ware's suspenseful, compulsive, and darkly twisted debut psychological thriller. So we have this girl who wakes up in a hospital, doesn't know what the hell happened, but is kind of feeling that she did something bad, and she has to confront her sordid past. Those are always fun. And I went ahead and grabbed all the Goosebumps books that I have because these are super short and sweet and just fun, and these are the ones that I own. Actually, there's one more upstairs. I am working on a collection. One day, I think it would be fun to actually have a nice big Goosebumps collection. The other one I have in here is Frankenstein. I still have yet to read this. I put this on my readathon, my TBR, like last year. Oh, and here are all the library books that my son picked out. He obviously was in the mood for Goosebumps as well. So we have The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, My Best Friend is Invisible, Monster Blood 2, The Birthday Party of No Return, Why I Quit Zombie School. This is one I actually picked up. And it's funny because today, literally, I was at the school trying to kind of figure out how to get my kids back into the brick and mortar school. The end of October, beginning of November, they're going to start transferring kids back into the brick and mortar who want to go. We're going to go ahead and do that. So I don't know why, I just felt like this was like perfect timing. The Lizard of Oz. And the ones that I actually own is one that I recently talked about on my channel because I just hauled it. And that is Ghosts of Fear Street, Nightmare in 3D. This was gonna be my Monster Mash book, which would still be really cool. Actually, any Goosebumps books would work great for the Monster Mash one. Choose Your Own Scare, The Deadly Experiments of Dr. Eek. Another school-themed one, Haunted School. All right, and that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, by the way, please tell me if you are planning on participating in any readathons this month, and which ones do you plan on doing, what you plan on reading this month. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. If you liked this video and would like to be notified for new content, please like and subscribe. That came out so weird.